I appreciate you coming out today. Thank you so much for coming and showing your true honesty. Thank you so much for being here.
What a great call to action. Let's hear it for the drum journeys of Earth. Connecting us to the earth and to our heartbeats and to each other.
Good morning.
Hello.
This is George Nostrin. My name is Phil Henry. This is a brand new original song based on the quote by Representative John Lewis, which is make or get into good trouble, necessary trouble, to help redeem the soul of America. I raise my flag, all the times I laced up these marching boots, but the world keeps burning before my eyes. My son, I turn to you. Put down your phone and pick up the sign. Don't let them tell you there's nothing you can do, 'cause we topple the tyrant into my time. My son, it's up to you. The sign is weathered and worn. You took to these streets before you were born. The sign said no justice, no peace, make love not war. Let us stand with each other like we did back then, and make good trouble again. Well, we got in good trouble on the National Mall, and at Stonewall, Selma and Birmingham. When the jackals of greed and war come to call, we make good trouble again. Well, I went to the protest today in the square. Prayer is all I can see. Where it's to you, whose burdens we bear. Revolutions on one on the screen. The sign is weathered and worn. We took to these streets before you were born. The sign said no justice, no peace, make love not war. Let's stand with each other like we did back then, and make good trouble again. Make good trouble again. We'll get a voice like a sword. When the hate of the world closes in, that's what courage is for. And they're carrying guns through the streets of our cities and towns. Outrage is easy, hope is hard. Don't let them grind you down. Now is your time to raise your flag, and the time to lace up your marching boots. 'Cause we're long past the point of agree, disagree. My son, I stand with you. Waves weathered and worn took to these streets, and now they're yours. Let's be rarest of birds in the blue sky of dreams. Gotta show them there's far more of us than of them, and make good trouble again. Let's make good trouble again.
Thank you. Make good trouble, will you?
Thank you, Phil and George. Ready to get into good trouble? I'm Marcia Castle, and on behalf of the Rutland County Indivisible leadership and future Americans who are yet unborn, we welcome you to No Kings 3. It appears that some members of our government are slow learners. So here we are back to remind them that they are accountable to us, as in we the people. While we're getting into good trouble, I do want to remind you that non-violence is a core value of Indivisible. And this is how we win. By upholding the very principles that we are working so hard to preserve and protect. Dignity, peace, justice. So it's a little brisk, right? But we're fired up. And this brief, manageable discomfort is nothing compared to the suffering that results from trampling the rule of law. Trampling the rule of law. From tyranny, fascism, authoritarianism, and greed, and the dismantling of democracy, and the utter cruelty that this administration has shown. That will be much more uncomfortable. So find warmth in this community. Channel your courage. Think of our friends in Minnesota. Find joy in taking place in this historic declaration of interdependence. Dignity, prosperity, and justice for all. And let the vision of the world that we want to live in guide us today and forward. And today is just a moment in the movement. And we're glad that you're here. We want you to think about how you can continue to be a part of this movement. Please, as you're here to demonstrate, also circulate, meet new people, check out the membership table. You can sign up to get information directly to you so you don't have to search for it. We've got buttons, stickers, whistles, raffles, information on how you can participate. Find your lane, no matter what your skills, your availability, your interest, your connections, your comfort, and your passions. In fact, we invite you Monday night to join us at the Rutland Free Library to hear from our Attorney General, Charity Clark, how Vermont is standing up to the illegal acts that this administration is trying to conduct. And now I invite the Rutland Interfaith Clergy Council to give us a few words of inspiration. And we're going to start with Reverend Patty Stratton.
Hey everybody out there! How you doing? Speaking of our friends in Minnesota, blessed are the whistleblowers, for theirs is the music of salvation! I've been invited to call us to just a moment of silence together as we ask for blessing. Source of life, we gather to declare that our faith is not for sale to political power. We are commanded to pursue justice, not kingship. Today we break our silence to say no to idols of absolute authority and yes to the dignity of every human being. We stand as people of faith and conscience against tyranny, bringing light to places of fear and demanding freedom for all. Strengthen our resolve to be agents of truth. In the name of love, amen. Friends, on behalf of the Rutland Interfaith Clergy Council, I'd like to invite you to come back here every Tuesday at 3 p.m. as we stand together in 5 minutes of silent solidarity for peace, love, and justice. Tuesdays, 3 o'clock, right here. Now I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Rabbi Michal Valls from the Rutland Jewish Center.
I am so excited to be here. My name's Michal Wall. I've been the rabbi at the Rutland Jewish Center since July. As a religious leader who engages with the oldest of our Western holy texts, I have sadly concluded that humanity has changed little over the millennia. The Pharaoh was the original narcissist, thinking he was God, willing to destroy himself, his people, his land, for his ego. The ancient Israelites, once freed from Egypt, were guided by judges and prophets who assisted them to carry out divine laws that created a just and rather socialist community. But the people wanted a king. In the book of Solomon, in the book of Samuel, God tells him, warn the people, these are the practices of any king who will rule over them. He will take your sons and appoint them as charioteers and riders, chiefs of thousands and fifties. They will plow his fields, reap his harvest, and make his weapons. He will take your daughters as cooks and bakers, seize your fields and vineyards and olive groves, and give them to his courtiers. You will become his slaves. The day will come when you cry out because of the king whom you have chosen. We did not ask for a king. In the book of Deuteronomy, written after the kingdom is established, these rules were written, the king will not multiply his wives or his silver or his gold for himself to excess. He will sit on his throne and write himself a copy of these laws, these commandments. Those first 10 his courtiers put on the walls of their schools and their courthouses. You will not lie. You will not commit adultery. You will not bear false witness. You will not oppress the stranger. You will love your neighbor and love the stranger, for you were a stranger in Egypt. A section of Leviticus reads, like the immigrant and the citizen, there will be a single law. You shall be as loving to the immigrant as you are to yourself.
Yes.
My people descend from immigrants, forced from place to place for millennia. We perished when nations closed their borders to us. We have been scapegoated for everything from child sacrifice to space lasers. We are now manipulated by a would-be king who claims we need his protection from immigrants, from refugees, from supporters of the rights of the Palestinian people. I assure you, I have no need of his protection.
Yes!
And I know that my safety and my rights are only assured when all people, Indigenous, European, Black, Brown, refugees, immigrants, and across the ocean, Palestinians and Israelis all live with equal rights, equal protection, and equal opportunity.
Yes!
Let's do the work. Thank you.
Thank you. So while edicts and executive principles come down from the federal government, when our day-to-day lives we experience on the local. And we are fortunate enough to have a representative from our local government today. Anna Taddeo recently was re-elected and currently serves on the Rutland City Board of Aldermen. She is not new to public service, for at UVM, she interned with somebody that you might know who's in Minneapolis, St. Paul today, Bernie Sanders. You may also know her because she ran for state senate in 2022 and state representative in 2024. So she already, at her young age, I can say from my perspective, is her lifelong public servant. While not campaigning, she works full-time for the environmental litigation attorney for the Conservation Law Foundation. And she volunteers as a pro bono attorney for the Vermont Asylum Assistance Project and Bridge to Rutland, helping asylum seekers. She protects both people and the planet, and we are fortunate to have her here to inspire us today. Anna Taddeo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today. You're all here because you care about the future of our country. And let me tell you, that's more than what our president cares about. While I'm here today to talk to you about local politics and how you can get involved, I want to start by running through the rap sheet of our felon president. We have a man who should be prioritizing making our country safer. And instead he's withdrawn us from the World Health Organization and defunded the Environmental Protection Agency. Boo! We have a man offering to pay an out-of-country energy company $1 billion not to build a wind turbine plant off of our coasts. Meanwhile, gas prices have risen 34%. seem to have endless money in this country for bombs, and yet there's not a penny for our health care. We seem to have endless money for fighter jets, and yet we are gutting SNAP and the WIC program. This orange clown is destroying our country, and we are here to say no more. While most of us are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, Donald Trump has made himself 3 times wealthier. This man has profited $1.8 billion while people are losing their health care. No, this is unacceptable. We say no, we reject this agenda. We are here because we care about our immigrant and refugee friends and neighbors. We are here because we know it doesn't matter who you choose to love or your sexual identity. We're here because we know no matter the color of your skin, you have value to bring to our society and you matter. The war in Iran has cost us, estimates say, between $18 and $25 billion. $1 billion a day for a war that was not authorized by Congress. This war is illegal. The Pentagon recently asked for $200 billion more to continue to fund this unauthorized war. Do you know to end global hunger would only take $93 billion? We could end global hunger and have world peace. And instead, what we have is a man who renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War? And then asked for a Nobel Peace Prize? What kind of a joke is this? We're America, land of the free, home of the brave, and that's who all of you are. Thank you all for coming out today. Every single thing that you do matters. You're making a difference by being here today, and I'm going to tell you other ways that you can get involved and make a difference as well. It takes a village to run for office, whether it's for your school board, whether it's for your select board, board of aldermen, city council, or whether it's for the state legislature. And we need you. We need good candidates to step up and run for office. We also need support systems for those candidates. We need people to step up and make phone calls, go knocking doors, drop off pamphlets and leaflets, offer to address envelopes and mail letters for candidates that are willing to serve. Every step you take makes a difference. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for coming here today. Even if you're unable to get involved in a political campaign, if you have $5 extra to donate to organizations that are doing the hard work, whether it's ACLU or Greenpeace or Planned Parenthood, every little step that you take matters. It makes a difference that we're standing here together, fighting back against fascism, fighting back against oligarchy, and fighting back against the greed of the billionaire class. Thank you all for being here today. Now, the final thing I want to leave you with is, although it doesn't seem like this at all times, we do have the law on our side. What is happening is illegal. Trump has broken the law. He's been charged with 34 felonies, and he continues to break the law. Boo. So what we need are people standing up, and you're all standing up, and so are the attorneys and prosecutors are standing up, and it matters. I do hope you'll join us on Monday at the library to hear from Attorney General Charity Clark. And right now, I would like to introduce you to another attorney making a difference locally, and that is Ian Sullivan. Many of you might know Ian Sullivan. I know him personally because I was on the campaign trail with him, And he's a phenomenal person, and I encourage you to get to know him. He's also a great dad. Growing up in the foothills of Mount Mansfield, Ian learned the value of public service from parents who served their community as a nurse and teacher. Since 2015, Ian has been a prosecutor for Rutland County. After the results of the November 2022 election, Ian has served as Rutland County's state's attorney. During that time, Ian has prosecuted everything from the theft of a six-pack to aggravated murder and everything in between. Ian has tried dozens of cases to jury verdicts, including 2 successful homicide trials. Additionally, Ian has been appellate counsel for approximately a dozen substantive appeals to the Vermont Supreme Court. Ian regularly presents at the Vermont Police Academy. He currently serves on the statewide executive committee for state attorneys and on multiple advisory committees to the Vermont Supreme Court. Let's welcome somebody else making a difference locally, Ian Sullivan.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Today I'm going to talk about the rule of law and why it is so important to each and every one of us in a free society. The rule of law isn't just one thing. It's not one value. It's not one principle. It's a constellation of principles that shine more magnificently because they are together. The rule of law means that we are all subject to the law, that the law comes from legitimate sources, and that we drive towards the law in a way that honors the rights of each and every person. The law applies to us all, and that means that no person, no matter how high, is above the reach of the law. No person is too low to be protected by the law. No person is so rich they can buy a different set of laws. And no person is so poor that the law does not recognize the rights that need to be vindicated on their behalf. For the people who take up the responsibility of enforcing our laws, this means we must investigate, prosecute, and hold accountable the rich, the mighty, the popular with the same vigor as the poor and the friendless. It also means that those who enforce the law must be committed to honoring everyone's rights. It means that the freedom of speech applies to everyone, not just those people we agree with. And that's because the freedom of speech is not just a right, it is the essential right. It is the essential right in a democracy. And the rule of law requires legitimate sources of law. In times and in places where the rule of law does not apply, there is only one law that applies, and that is that might makes right. In ancient times, a would-be dictator of Rome was confronted by a citizen asserting their rights under the law, and that would-be dictator responded, "Who are you to quote laws to those of us with swords? Not here, not here, here." The rule of law must come from legitimate sources, from our Constitution, from our duly elected lawmakers, and from an independent judiciary.
You prosecuted me with no proof.
The flash and the thunder in our government, in our democracy, comes from elected officials. The judiciary, the independent judiciary, is restrained, and they are appropriately restrained to a role where they deal with the cases and controversies in front of them rather than going out in search of controversies. And that is appropriately so. It is appropriately so that the law is predictable. But it does mean that when out of control politicians
swing wildly at our judiciary. It attacks the independence of our judiciary. And that cannot be an acceptable way for the rule of law to play out. The power of the judiciary is imperative to a free society. It is imperative because the judges in a government of co-equal branches of government can release a person who is unlawfully arrested. They can step in and order the executive government to end unlawful practices. And they can remove, as they have done time and time again in this presidential administration, remove unlawfully installed acting U.S. attorneys, unlawfully installed federal prosecutors with tremendous sway over the enforcement of the federal government. That is a power that needs to be preserved in our rule of law. But the judiciary does not command police forces filled with thousands of officers. They do not command armies. And yet, throughout our history, when the judiciary has ruled against the executive branch, when it has ruled against the legislative branch, out of a respect for the rule of law, those other branches have abided by the decisions, have used the legitimate recourse of appeal or amending our statutes. That's the rule of law, not what we are seeing, not attacks on the independence of the judiciary by calling out judges with revolting language, by accusing them of being partisan hacks or being in the sway of political parties. Not that at all. And the danger of that speech is something we can see. The well-documented rise of doxing judges, of releasing their addresses, releasing their homes, releasing the names of their loved ones onto community forums, onto chat groups, so that judges are targeted for abuse in the community, so that they can be swatted where a fake 911 call is sent in the hopes that there will be an atrocious, horrific outcome for that judge. One judge, Judge Saltis, from down south, her son answered the door to a would-be killer, and instead of killing her, her son was killed. And now judges across the country get deliveries in the name of her killed son. That is intimidation. That conduct flows directly from the rhetoric of hate, the rhetoric to delegitimize our independent judiciary. And in a world where the judiciary is not independent, that is a world where the executive branch is unrestrained, where it is the rule of just one person. That is a threat to the rule of law in our community. But it's important that the rule of law doesn't just come from elected officials, appointed officials. The rule of law in this country also relies on the community. I'm a prosecutor. I enforce Vermont's laws. Of course, I believe in the cases that my office brings, but I am proud to work in a system where people are not guilty merely because I say they are guilty. I am proud to work in a system where I have to prove my cases to a jury made up of people from throughout this community, a jury of a defendant's peers, and only when the government proves its case beyond a reasonable doubt can a person be found guilty. The reason I'm proud of that is because it is a check against out-of-control government power. And we are seeing that check work across this country. We are seeing federal prosecutors bring cases against people engaged in protest. They are bringing bloated, unlawful charges, but they have to present them to grand juries, and grand juries are rejecting those cases. Grand juries in the place where they can, one at a time, are saying, not here, not today, we hold the line, and only the rule of law matters. You'll be surprised to learn that my fingers are cold too. The rule of law is also not personal law. It is not the whim of one person. The rule of law does not allow the executive branch to claim the exclusive legislative prerogative of declaring war. The rule of law does not allow one person at their whim to run roughshod over the War Powers Act. And the rule of law certainly does not allow, at the whim of one person, to declare free speech zones where only there can the right to free speech be exercised. Absolutely not. In this country, the free speech zone is the United States. And it is worth talking about what we really face. We really face the rule of law being under attack, the expectation that the law, not might, makes the difference in the law. That is under attack. Now, you've heard me say, and I believe this deeply, that the rule of law is not about personal rule. It is not about the whims of one person. It is about principles. But that is not to say that people don't matter in this process. Principles don't protest. Principles don't wear a badge and a gun. Principles don't put on a black robe and sit on the high benches in our courtrooms. People protest. People put on a badge to enforce our laws. People take the bench and make rulings on the law. And so if the rule of law is to matter, it matters because it lives in the hearts and the actions of people. Just like all of you here today. And for the people who enforce the law, the principle of the rule of law must not be a mechanical exercise of power. It has to be infused with the values of our nation, with the values of Americans. And that means the supremacy of our laws. Those of us who are sworn to uphold the law must be bound by the law as well, that no authority is as high as our Constitution or the statutes of our elected officials. It also means the economy of force, that to police a free people requires a steadfast commitment to use only the force that is necessary to effectuate legitimate laws and to preserve life. Anything more than that is not justice. Anything more than that is mere brutality. And just enforcement of the laws in accordance with the rule of law also means that enforcement of the laws is to shield the rights of the people. Is to expect that citizens will exercise their right to protest, to criticize the government, and to make space for that. Not to suppress it, not to tamp it down, not to try to push it off of our streets and out of our city squares. When we look around our country, we're seeing the freedom of speech under attack. We're seeing the freedom of assembly under attack. And we're seeing the right to observe and record government officials acting in public spaces under attack. Those rights are under attack by people and by entities that have forgotten, if they ever knew, what it means to truly be a public servant. And here and today, and all across the country, citizens, people of this country are showing up to say, we see you, we hear you, and we expect to live in a country governed by the rule of law. And I'm a Vermont prosecutor. I'm a prosecutor for Rutland County. And I'm heartened to look around and see not a single person from a police department showing up in riot gear, not showing up to intimidate this crowd. And I'll say many people have strong beliefs about what they're seeing. So many more that are here today. Now, doubtless some of those people think they will find their voice. They will find the ability to lace up their shoes to make a difference. When the horrors come to their communities, to their neighborhood, maybe even to their doorstep, they are hoping that if they keep their heads down, they won't have to do that. I'm an empathetic person, I can understand that. That might have been your choice yesterday, last week, last year, but today is a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. And there is an imperative need to speak out and show where you stand. Everybody here knows that. But in our conversations in the days and weeks to come, we can encourage the people we love, that we care about, and that are open to persuasion, that they too should draw a line in the sand. And it's important not to wait for the moment of crisis. It's important to act early and act in unison so that our government knows what our values are, so that they know that the rule of law will not perish from this country. And despite the darkness on the horizons, the attacks on the rule of law, and the threat of more to come, right now, right here, in Rutland County, in Rutland City, people are carrying the light. They are carrying the light for a proud democracy that makes space for every single person, that works for a better future. There are people who are young here. There are people who are old here. There are people who have protested 100 times, 1,000 times, and there are people here who are protesting for the first time. If that doesn't make you hopeful for our future, I don't know what will. I have pity for you if you don't hope for the future when you see people coming together like that. I'm Ian Sullivan. I'm your state's attorney, and I'm here for the rule of law. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ian, and thank you for being there for the rule of law for all of us. I want to make a couple of announcements, just do some housekeeping. If you lost a phone, please go to the membership desk and identify it. We found it for you. Hey, if one person had tried to put this together, it might not have been so much fun, but a lot of volunteers. This is completely, despite what people like to say that we're like super funded, we're funded by your donations. This has been accomplished by just volunteers. So could you say thank you to the volunteers? A phone, please go over and check out. We've got Know Your Rights cards and rapid response cards. Minneapolis didn't expect a crisis. Rutland isn't either, but let's be prepared in case one finds us. So go over and get your rapid response directions. I'd like to take a moment now to invite Ryan McLaren to come up and enlighten us on the softer side of equity. Equity is a bad word right now, but there are a lot of good things about it. I like equity and inclusion and accessibility, and he's going to give us some a pep talk about some policies out there. Ryan.
Hello. Is everybody warm? No? Maybe we should warm up a little bit. I'm gonna say Rutland, and you're gonna say, as loud as you possibly can, no kings. Rutland? No kings! Rutland? No kings! Rutland? No kings! Let's go! Yes! Hello, Rutland. I am Ryan McLaren. I am a candidate for Lieutenant Governor, but I am here today as a proud dad, a proud husband, a public servant, and a paraplegic. I was paralyzed in a skiing accident 9 years ago, and I will live the rest of my life with a disability. So I'm here to talk about what it means to have a president of the United States that demeans and mocks people with disability. Yeah, he started his career mocking a reporter with disability. And just this last week, he mocked the governor of California, who's lived his whole life with a learning difference. And we have seen this playbook before. It's not new. And it starts with immigrants being ripped from their homes. And then it comes for people like me, who can't escape or they don't deem worthy of humanity. There's always another outsider. There is always another enemy. Until we are all shipped off to some gulag far, far away. And it's all part of Donald Trump's great lie. It's the lie that all authoritarians and fascists have told throughout history. That the power and greatness of America is his and his alone. And yeah, I'm here as a proud and powerful disabled man to say that that lie is bullshit. And I refuse to live in Donald Trump's lie. The disabled community, the LGBTQ community, the immigrant community, people of color, allies, we all refuse to live in Donald Trump's lie. Because we know that America was founded on fundamental truths. That all people are created equal. Yes. That human rights are divine and unalienable. And that power, real power, lies in all of us together. So resistance is essential, but it is not sufficient. We have to act. We have to use our power right here, right now. So, we have the opportunity to do that right here in Vermont. This November, Vermonters will have a chance to pass our very own Equal Rights Amendment. It will enshrine the rights and dignity of disabled people, of women, of LGBTQ folks, immigrants, people of color, everybody in Vermont's Constitution for the very first time. Vermont's Equal Rights Amendment is our direct response to Trump's lie. It is a siren call for our friends and neighbors that need to hear it most. Everyone, Vermont has your back. So please join me. Let's pass Prop 4, our Equal Rights Amendment, because our lives and our liberty and our happiness, they are in our own hands. And there cannot be freedom without unity. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Growing up in Brattleboro, Mike was inspired to pursue public service by the example his parents set. His father, a small business owner, dedicated his free time to community service, while his mother founded St. Bridget's Soup Kitchen, which continues to serve those in need today. They raised Mike to believe that Vermonters should always look after their neighbors. That belief continues to guide his work today. As treasurer, Mike has focused on making smart investments that lower costs strengthen Vermont's economy, and give every Vermonter a fair shot at success. Please join me in welcoming Mike Pieciak.
Hey, good morning, Rutland. Thank you, Ian Sullivan, for that wonderful introduction. And let's give a big round of applause to Rutland Indivisible for organizing this great event here this morning. As Ian said, I'm Mike Pieciak, your state treasurer. And when I look out at this crowd here in Rutland, when I look at ordinary people coming together, it fills me with great optimism and great joy. The fact that we can come together and loudly and clearly say, in America, there are no kings. And this is the third time we've come together. And every time we've come together, we have stood a little taller. And every time we've come together, our voices have been a little louder. And every time we've come together, we've made Donald Trump and the MAGA movement a little smaller. But we have to remember, my friends, this moment that we're in is bigger than Democrat versus Republican. This moment that we're in is all about right versus wrong. And in that battle of right versus wrong, we don't just need Democrats. We need Republicans. We need independents. We need progressives and moderates and everyone in between. Quite frankly, we just need anyone with a backbone. We need anyone who has the courage to stand up clearly and convincingly to say what is wrong. It is wrong for Donald Trump to sacrifice American lives for an aimless war in the Middle East. It is wrong for Donald Trump to do everything in his power to cover up for his rich and powerful friends. It is wrong for Donald Trump to send ICE agents into our communities, terrorizing our neighbors and ripping them away from their families. It is wrong for Donald Trump to impose billions of dollars of tax increases and tariffs on working people, the largest tax increase in this country's history. My friend, these things are wrong, not because they are policy failures. These things are wrong because they are moral failures. Now, we also need to remember, we are not in this moment simply because of one broken president. We are in this moment because of a broken system. A system that for far too long has worked for those at the top and not for everyone else. A system that for far too long has allowed the wealthy to grow wealthier, while economic opportunity for everyone else keeps going away. We feel that here in Vermont all too well. Vermonters are being priced out. We're being priced out of our homes. We're being priced out of our health care. We're being priced out of our communities. When we have a system that is broken, it is far too easy for demagogues like Donald Trump to step in. To step in and instead of pointing the finger at the common enemies of hunger and poverty and injustice, he points the finger at each of us, pitting ourselves against each other, community against community, vulnerable group against another vulnerable group. And we saw that all too well here in Vermont 2 weeks ago in South Burlington. ICE agents coming into our community, masked, armed, deploying tear gas, all in the pursuit of catching the wrong person. What we saw in South Burlington represents the worst of this country. But what we're seeing today, what we saw then, people coming together, standing up, lifting their voices, Everyone here today represents the best of this country. And ultimately, whether it's in South Burlington or Minnesota or communities across this state, across this country, when this resistance has been successful, it's because ordinary people have stood up and pushed back. It's not the Congress. It's not the Supreme Court. It's not any political party. It is ordinary people coming together, standing strong, lifting your voices, and saying, we will not accept this as normal. So when we leave here today, let us all think of all of the actions we can take individually, locally at home, supporting community organizations, supporting our neighbors. Let's think about the organizations that we can support statewide, the efforts we can support. And let's think about how, in just a few short months in November of 2026, we can support the candidates that are going to start taking our country back. So Rutland, thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you so much for standing together, lifting your voices, and fighting for your community. Keep up that fight. Keep fighting for each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for making the trip. Thanks for always remembering Rutland. You know, we appreciate being seen and heard and attended to. So, folks, it's happening. You gotta believe. We're making a difference, but you can't let up on the gas. Find a way to continue.